Okay, step 3, this is the creative process. This is when you're gonna start to formulate your idea for your commercial, for the brand that sort of fits within your voice as a new director. So there's no real way to tell you how to come up with a concept. This can be something that you've already thought of, and maybe that's why you're watching this, something you come up with while out on the town. You might see a different commercial and come up with your own. You might see a funny music video, you might see a YouTube clip. There's a million ways to draw inspiration from other things. Maybe use that to come up with your general concept. Ultimately, this isn't about, in my opinion, it's not really about you coming up with the most genius idea for your spec ad. It's about how you execute it, and it's about how you do it with that voice that we talked about, a creative, clear direction. That said, if you're able to come up with a genius idea or something really brilliant or something that really makes you stand out, and you can say, yeah, I directed that and I came up with the idea and I wrote it, or I worked with a really great team and we put it together, then that's better. If you can use the opportunity to both do a really good job directing and have come up with a concept, do it. So here's an important tip. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You can draw from other things and you can use other commercials that you like, and you can make them your own. You can put your own spin on it. And in fact, sometimes that's better because you want to be able to take something simple, make it look and feel really good, and make it fit within that voice. So when you're coming up with this creative idea, keep in mind what you're gonna actually be able to pull off within your means. So you're probably gonna have to spend a little bit of money to make this spec ad. Maybe you have a lot of money to make it. Whatever your situation, you need to be realistic about your concept. If you want to do something that requires 15 locations and 20 actors and a ton of different wardrobe, and you've got $100, don't do it, because it's just not going to look good. And at the end of the day, this is something you're creating so you can take out and get work. I say keep it simple, stupid. If you happen to have a lot of resources and you happen to have a lot to work with, okay, then you can be a little bit bigger with your idea. But for the purpose of making your first digital spec ad, keep it simple, keep it to the point, and try to keep it within that voice that we talked about. All right, now let's talk about length. You have a little bit of flexibility because this is a digital spec ad. So we're gearing this towards the internet, where length could be whatever you want it to be. However, you have to keep in mind what a traditional ad is. A traditional television ad is between 15 seconds and a minute, and generally it's 15 or 30 seconds. That said, this is the web. You might have a really genius 3-minute idea or a 2-minute idea or a 1-minute idea. If I could advise, I would say keep it under 3 minutes. If it's really a digital spec ad, keep it under 1 minute. Let's talk about the approach and how it's gonna mesh with your voice and your brand and the brand message. If you wanna make a funny ad, there's sort of a couple ways to go about it, right? It could be a very funny thing on its own that doesn't really plug the brand till the end, or it could be, a very in-your-face, this is head-on, applied directly to the forehead. I happen to think that's funny, but I don't know if they're meant to be serious or not. There's no rules. You can look at what's out there. There's a ton of things to draw inspiration from. If you want to make something funny, do what makes you laugh. If you want to do something that's beautiful, find some inspiration and find something that you think you can accomplish. So now that you have your general concept, your to-do item is to write it down. Write it in bullet points, write it into a paragraph, just get it down on paper. If you really have to hash out all the details, do that, but get it on the paper, and now you're gonna take that and you're gonna move to the next step, which is writing the script.